Joe.
Right, cheerio now, bye-bye.
There we go, all I need. I think it was the famous motor car manufacturer Henry Ford who once said, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. I think what he was trying to get at there was the importance of self-belief and self-confidence. In other words, if you think you can learn something, well then you can learn it. But it's important to be realistic and set yourself achievable goals. For example, I know I can paint the back door, but I also know that I can't fit a lock to that door. So what I need now is a locksmith. And what better place to start looking for one than in the independent directory. The independent directory, like the Golden Pages, is a list of businesses, their names, addresses, and telephone numbers. At the back of the book, you'll find an index which can help you find what you're looking for quickly. The index lists all the different categories or types of business in the directory, along with their page numbers. It's arranged in alphabetical order, which means that the lists start with A and all the way down to types of businesses listed under Z. Locksmith begins with the letter L, so you need to check out the index for categories beginning with the letter L, and when you've got that far, keep going down the list until you get to locksmiths. The index will then tell you the page number where you'll find all the ads for locksmiths in the main part of the directory. The page may have a number of different ads on it, so you first have to scan through the columns until you find the word locksmiths. Some people find it useful to use their finger to scan down and across the columns. When you've found the right section, keep scanning down the column until you find a locksmith which is convenient to you. Then, keep going until you find a telephone number and you're in business.
I have something inside. It's a little book of just the things that mean an awful lot to me in my life that I done in one of the classes. And it's just here now and I'll show it to you. It's, I don't know why I like this photograph. I think it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid. I was always sitting in gardens and I was always kind of thinking and sitting and watching trees growing and flowers growing, and that's just a little piece. I ran a teenage mothers group in Ballymun, and I worked with the teenage mothers, and for about a year, and it was very successful. They seemed to love it, the girls, and they had a creche for their babies, and if we made something, like if they made soup, if I showed them how to make homemade soup or something, we'd take the babies up out the creche and they'd feed them. So it was a lovely, I really enjoyed that. It was a lovely, few months working with the girls and the babies.
We've seen from what Betty has achieved in her learning that the more you use your mind, the better it gets. Use it or lose it, they say, and research proves it's true. But use it and you can improve it as well, because research has also proven that older people learn new tasks just as easily as younger people. The secret is that they have to stay mentally and physically active. There really is lifelong learning. When you do something, it leaves a mark or an imprint on your brain, and the more you do it, the stronger the imprint gets. So continually practicing activities or tasks really does work. And just like the physical body, we need to keep the brain active and in shape. Improving your spelling doesn't have to be hard work all the time. You can play around with words. Take a small word, add letters or other words to the beginning or the end, and make a new word. Take an example like rail. If you put a T in front of it, it becomes trail, or if you put ing at the end of it, it becomes railing. Here's another word. Add the letters en to the beginning of the word joy and you get enjoy. Add ful to the end of it and you get joyful. Or take a word like for. For plus m, form. For plus ty, 40. For plus ce is force. Have a go at making up your own words. Start with 3-letter words, work up to longer ones. Next week, we'll be doing more work with words, showing you how to break them into syllables.
If you would like some help with anything we've covered in the programme, call 1-800 20 20 65. There's a team of specially trained tutors standing by to take your call, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free and confidential, so call now.
What's your approach to mistakes? Do you beat yourself up over what you feel are your failures in learning? What you see as a failure, why not decide to see it as a result? Okay, it's not the result you wanted maybe, but why did you get it? And how can you get the result you do want next time? Change your attitude and watch the effects on your learning. Watch your successes increase. If you look positively on your results and learn from them, you can move on.
I never thought that what I'd have in my head to write down was kind of in my way poetry. I didn't feel probably that it was good enough. You know, and it's not until you go back and you'd be in a class that people would be writing poetry that you'd find that yours is just as good as everybody else's. And I just wrote like my new life, because it is a new life. 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago, a ray of sunshine came into my life. She changed darkness into light. She changed fear into strength. She changed seeds into flowers. She changed twigs into trees. She changed branches into challenges. She changed learning into joy. She changed life to happiness. Who is she? She's me. Going back to learning has opened up a whole new horizon for me. You know, it's just a lifetime learning now. And whenever I want to stop, I'd stop, and I feel, you know, I don't want to go any further, I won't go any further. But at the moment, I can't see that. I just want to keep on going.
Just like Betty, we can grow and learn to learn again, no matter what age we are or what kind of experiences we've had. But what we must do is learn effectively. The question is how? There are many factors that can affect our ability to learn. For example, when we feel confident, we do well. When we're stressed out and worried, we don't. If we're in good mood, everything seems easier and we can concentrate properly on what we have to do. Now, there are other things that affect us and our ability to learn. Age, exercise, memory, and emotional states. We'll look at these in more detail as the series goes on. First, here's a handy tip for you on writing. When it comes to improving your writing, there is nothing for it, only practice and more practice. So why not practice your writing this week by making a list of all the words that come into your mind when you say the word learning. We've heard some of them throughout the programme. Fun, books, skills, work. When you've got your list, write them into sentences. Writing sentences gets you more familiar with using a pen or a pencil, and gradually you get more and more relaxed about writing, and your handwriting will improve and be easier to read. So here's a few sentences to get you started. Learning is hard work, or learning is fun. As well as giving you practice with your writing skills, this will also help you with your spelling. There are exercises on writing skills in the Read Write Now workbook that you might like to try.
Here's a chance to look back at some of the things we've learned this week. Remember, learning is everywhere. Sometimes we aren't even aware that we're learning. But the fact is, we learn all through our lives.
And we gave you a handy tip to use when you're trying to add up quickly. Rounding off to the nearest big number. Round off €9.99 to €10, €5.99 to €6, and €2.99 to €3. This makes it a lot easier to have a rough idea of how much things cost.
Let's look back at the 4 stages of learning. Stage 1 is where you can't do something, but you don't even know you can't do it. Stage 2 is where you still can't do something, but now you know you can't. Stage 3 is where you've learned how to do something, but it takes all your concentration. And stage 4 is where you just do it without even thinking about it. It's very important to remember that you need to set realistic and achievable goals for yourself. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Give yourself time to learn new things.
And for a good way to look up a directory or an index, remember they are usually arranged in alphabetical order, starting with A and ending with Z. And when you're searching ads for something in particular, scan down or across the columns and pick out the bits of information you need.
There's one thing that we can't say often enough, and that's practice makes perfect. And if you've got a positive attitude to learning from your mistakes, then learning will get easier and you'll enjoy it a lot more.
Don't be afraid to have some fun with words. Playing around with adding letters to the beginning and end of words will help you improve your spelling. Adding en to joy gives you enjoy. Adding ing to rail gives you railing. So get writing now. Try writing out some of the words you've heard throughout the programme into sentences to get you started. Remember, practice, practice, practice. Well, that's it for this week. Next week we'll be in Belfast at the Science Museum, where we'll meet more learners.
And we'll be thinking about our individual styles of learning. Until then,
Goodbye. Shall we?